Hello and welcome to this new episode of our podcast. This time we're answering the question, ISO versus lean manufacturing. Which one do you need? Hi, my name is Miriam and I'm with Mireaux Management Solutions. Today I'll be answering the question that we get from time to time. What is ISO versus lean manufacturing and which one do I need? I am not claiming to be an expert on lean manufacturing, although I am an expert in ISO, Management System Standards. So I'll be giving you my perspective on this. My journey with lean manufacturing started in the late 90s. It was a little bit of a boom back then with lean manufacturing and the GE company which brought about the lean manufacturing concept, or at least made it famous. My journey began at the company I was working for, which was a contract manufacturing. At that company, we were already certified to 9001, 14001, 45001, which at the time was OSAS. We had the whole works. And not only that, but we have a lot of bright engineers. Supplier quality engineers, we had manufacturing engineers. We really had a lot of bright people. And best of all, top management was fully sold on the concept of improvement, ISO, and having a great quality product. Now, if you know a little bit about contract manufacturing, this is where a company makes products for other companies. So when a company comes to you with a big contract and tells you they want you to be ISO certified to a certain specific ISO standard, then you're gonna go get it. And this is how we accumulated several ISOs, and that's where I also got my experience. But one of our clients, a large client, demanded us to get better because some of these clients really wanted you to be like zero defects, which is a concept that you couldn't really even bring to some of our clients that we deal right now in the oil and gas industry. And so with these big clients, we needed to really be good, and so they brought their experts in lean manufacturing, and honestly, this is true, they parked themselves at our plant for about 6 months training us on this concept so that we could improve and at the same time help them get better value and product from us, because if we got better, they will get better because we were a key supplier for them. This is a great example of wonderful supplier relationships, right? Because you have a customer coming to you to train you to get better, so you give them better value. And this is where we got trained on the lean manufacturing concept, and I participated in the whole group and initiative. And my bigger takes on this was definitely the value stream mapping as well as the Kaizen events. So what my understanding is you go through a process and you follow the process everywhere that you have, and you maybe select a process and you follow it, and by following it in detail from wherever it goes, you will actually get a real picture of where your product or service is going, and then you will figure it out where the inefficiencies were, and then you could improve by establishing these Kaizen groups, which will put in place the Kaizen events and then make a big improvement on this specific process. And just like that, you will take on different areas and make them better. Great concept, and definitely we did some of those and brought about great value for our company. Now, of course, the big bust of the 2000 came along, and so a lot of companies didn't survive. But that's a whole other story. But the idea is, to me, that was wonderful. We were a company that were already way up in the food chain of improvement, of having great processes in place, a great infrastructure. So when lean manufacturing came in, we had the right processes in place, infrastructure, and the right people to put it in place. But what ISO does, in contrast, it is also a tool for continual improvement, but ISO is really like putting an infrastructure in place. Let's say in your house is like making the drawings and then putting the foundation where you're gonna put the house up. So you wouldn't want to even think about decorating and improving maybe the look of the house when you don't even have the drawings or the foundation. And that's where the difference is to me. If you have a company that doesn't even have the infrastructure, the management system in place, how are you even going to think about improving? See, what happens is any improvements won't be sustained because you don't have the base where it will follow on consistently or be followed consistently. So let's think about this. When you put ISO in place, you're first identifying your processes, like what does my company do? And then you go through like what is our process for selling? And what is our process for making our product? And then you put procedures in place to catch bad product and how to make sure it's not released and what to do about it, and then how to read customer requirements, and then how to train our people. So you put all this infrastructure, the foundation, which will seem basic, but there is companies already doing business for years that don't even have that. Maybe they have it in the concept or in the knowledge, tribal knowledge, but not necessarily in concrete written documents. So ISO, that's where it comes in. It wants you to formalize. It doesn't need to be necessarily a procedure, but it needs to be a formalized process, a formal process. So you have a tribal knowledge process, now it will become formal. Now, whether you put a procedure in place, a work instruction, a form to go along with it, which in a lot of cases we recommend, that's up to you, whatever suits your culture, your environment, and your long-term plans. Because if you are planning to grow, you definitely want to have a lot of these things in place written so that they can live longer than maybe people moving around. And so that's what ISO does, is put the infrastructure in place, put the processes in place so that you have a nice baseline. Now, ISO also promotes continual improvement. I mean, by all means, ISO is all about improvement, but it doesn't necessarily tell you what tools beyond, I guess, the lessons learned, corrective action, root cause analysis, right? Those are great tools, but that's kind of general. Now, here comes lean manufacturing. This is where you can hone in on maybe some of the processes and look with a deep lens, whether it's quality lens, environmental, safety, information security, and see where your inefficiencies are and elevate them through your Kaizen events. So that's, to me, the biggest difference between both. And so if you are thinking which one do you need, if you don't even have the baseline, that foundation, then I definitely will recommend that you get that first before you even think about implementing lean manufacturing, because you will be putting improvements in place into a shaky ground, a ground that is not stable. And so eventually either those improvements won't survive, but it might not even be sustainable. In any moment when that shaking ground breaks, then you're left with nothing, and all your improvement, your investment in time or money and resources will really fall apart. So what I suggest is put ISO in place. And when I say ISO, I also mean API Q1 or API Q2, because those are management system standards that also help your company put an infrastructure in place. And let that run for a few years. Let the culture of continual improvement sink in, before you even think about elevating it. So you put ISO in place. Whether you get certified or not is up to you, but the concept of what you need to have this infrastructure, it is out there on the standard. So once you put this in place, let it run for a few years. Have some internal audits, external audits if you're certified. Get some of those non-conformities out, improve, and repeat, with the plan, do, check, act concept of planning and then acting and then improving and checking again. So you do that for a few years and then you decide, do I still have inefficiencies? Have I increased in sales to the point that maybe I want to implement other concepts? And that's when, if you want, you can go and maybe seek help from lean manufacturing experts or Lean Six Sigma and then elevate your processes to a whole other level. But first, stick with the ISO and API standards to get your processes in place. Now, our company, Mireaux, because of my training in lean manufacturing way back in the late 90s, I made sure that our approach to getting a company certified include some of these concepts. For example, the value stream mapping concept, for me, it is key. And so for the ISO and API implementation projects that we help companies with, we have what we call the process mapping. And for us, this is one of the first things that we do when we start a project, is identify the processes. And this is not flowcharting. I am not flowcharting the company's entire processes to see, okay, if you do this, what happens if you do that? The first step is, let me look at your processes and see what you do from A to Z. Then we go with the lens of another process mapping technique, interviewing people and getting to learn their processes. And while doing that, we inject the ISO requirements. So we don't just come and tell you what ISO tells you to do. We first seek to know what you're already doing and try to formalize it. So we look at that through process mapping. Then we tell you what ISO wants that maybe you don't have, and then we kind of tweak what you're already doing, aside from formalizing it. And so this works well because we are not imposing a totally new process on you. What we're doing is, hey, if what you're doing is already working, let's formalize it, let's inject what it is missing from ISO, and then let's see if there's any other efficiencies there that we can get or inefficiencies that we can remove. And that works well, but like I said, because of my training in value stream mapping early on, due to the lean manufacturing concepts, that's how I was able to insert this into our approach, and that's why our clients really benefit a lot from this concept. So if you are starting your journey into ISO, then I definitely advise that you start with identifying your processes, do a little bit of process mapping, and then start with the ISO. Leave lean manufacturing for later on when you have a very stable management system in place, running for a few years, doing well, and your processes are somewhat efficient, formalized at least, and you have the continual improvement mindset. If you do that and then you seek to go maybe the next step and you have the resources and the financial means, your company will do very well. I hope this helps you in making that decision. And if your company is in need of ISO or API assistance, let us know. We provide consulting, auditing, training, and our software WebQMS. Thank you, and until our next video, stay awesome and stay compliant.